guys, welcome in. Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Always like to get my thoughts in on my Philadelphia Eagles, especially since a big event just took place, obviously, with the 2020 NFL Draft, and a lot of things that you can scratch your head about, but also some value picks were certainly placed in there. We always like to lean it over towards a gambling perspective as usual, so we'll take a look at some of these odds and some thoughts now post-draft that maybe you can get a little bit more value on, specifically looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, going over the draft, obviously round 1, pick 21 overall, Jalen Reagor was selected out of TCU, a burner. I can't hate the pick. I did like Justin Jefferson, the baller out of LSU, the wide receiver. I thought that might have been a better pick, but after seeing what the Eagles did in the draft, it sort of makes sense. But if you take a look at a Speedster at number 1, they certainly needed more playmakers, obviously, from the wide receiver position. Last year, heading down the stretch, Greg Ward Jr. was the leading wide receiver who was a quarterback back in college. So you saw they needed to upgrade that position because some of the wide receivers are getting older with Alshon Jeffrey and also Deshaun Jackson. Don't hate that pick. Don't love the pick, but it is a quality pick there that you can get in the first round. Second pick, that's where all the hell broke loose, so to speak, at 53 with the pick of Jalen Hurts out of Oklahoma, the quarterback, which immediately made me think, like, what is wrong with Carson Wentz? Is it degenerative knee? Did he not recover from his concussion that he faced with Seattle in the playoffs? I couldn't really understand the pick because, yes, you always do want to invest in quarterback, but you don't really invest in quarterback when you have a 26, 27-year-old starter that you just gave over $100 million to. The pick was baffling because it certainly isn't going to help the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2020 football season. One would think not, unless you're of the mindset that Carson Wentz goes down week 6 for the season and maybe a rookie can come in and lead you to a Super Bowl title. Probably not going to happen. Very confusing pick. A good football player, but just not a good football player that the Eagles needed specifically in round 2 of the draft. Then we got to round 3. A compensatory pick, Davion Taylor from Colorado, explosive linebacker, really fast, really shifty, more of a special teams ace, so to speak, but can fill in at linebacker. The one thing that you do know for the Philadelphia Eagles over the past couple years, and really the mindset philosophy that Andy Reid had for a long time was, hey, we'll see what happens at linebacker, but we don't want to invest too heavily, a la Mark Simoneau at linebacker. So, we'll see how that pick goes up. But Kayvon Wallace, the 4th-round pick out of Clemson, exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles need at safety, a playmaker to fill in, losing Malcolm Jenkins to the New Orleans Saints. That's a nice playmaker that you can fill in. Never can get too angry at the Eagles drafting depth on the offensive line. Their 4th pick, also at 145, Jack Driscoll out of Auburn. Can swing, play guard, play tackle. Solid pick in that instance. Now it gets a lot of fun here because you're talking about the Eagles last year. Not a lot of explosive playmakers, obviously, since Deshaun Jackson went down basically in week 1 because he only got to play a couple plays in week 2 versus the Atlanta Falcons. You look at Hightower, the speedster out of Boise State in the 5th round. Love that draft pick. You get Sean Bradley, the local Temple product. Seems like the Eagles do like to dip into their Penn State and also Temple local products pipeline. Last time they did that, Jaquan Jarrett a couple years ago really didn't work out too well as they burned an early round pick on a safety that really wasn't that good. We'll see what Sean Bradley has, but again, a late round pick, 6th round pick in a linebacker. Guy can come in, fill in special teams, and get into the linebacker mix. Again, really fits the Philadelphia Eagles MO. Then you take a look at Quez Watkins, a burner out of Southern Miss. Is he going to work out? We've seen Shelton Gibson drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles, just getting speed guys to see if maybe one of those guys, Bryce Treggs, brings up a past memory that can actually work out. Prince Tega Wanaganohu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Wanagoho from Auburn. I don't really know much about him, but I know he did drop in the draft because of knee surgery. And again, in an off season where you didn't really get the checks and balances from your medical staff, you really took a flyer. But I know a lot of people that know college football in that realm did like that pick. And also Casey Tuho rounds out a defensive end at 233 in the 7th round. So when you take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, really wasn't clear what they were trying to do, but obviously at the end of the draft, it was speed they were looking to work on. So if we translate this over for the Philadelphia Eagles and say, hey, you know what, how does this go into 2020? When you look at their depth chart, again, you can only base it off players that are going to come back and be healthy and be similar to the productivity that they've had in the past. So if you take a look at the starters, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, and Jalen Reagor is a 1-2-3 option. That's a really good option. And then you take a look at tight end. Obviously, we know Zach Ertz, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and Dallas Goedert, a real mismatch nightmare. That is a really good group of skill position players. Now, when you take a look at running back, you love the way that Miles Sanders came on late in the season for the Philadelphia Eagles, a big-time playmaking running back to go with Carson Wentz. That is a lot to like, and you still have the semblance of a really good offensive line. Still left tackle undecided if they're going to go with Dillard or certainly bring back Jason Peters or go with a more veteran product. But the team's overall capabilities on offense, very good. If you take a look at the defense, pretty good on the defensive line as well. Obviously, adding Javon Hargrave in free agency to pair with Fletcher Cox. Never really got to look at Malik Jackson because he only played a couple snaps for the Eagles last year, getting hurt in game one, but then filling in. And here's that question mark we always have with the Philadelphia Eagles at linebacker: the Nathan Garys of the world, T.J. Edwards, Duke Riley. Obviously, you drafted Davion Taylor and also a couple guys later with the local product out of Temple. But the secondary improved, you would think, with Nickel Roby-Coleman and also Darius Slay getting added to the secondary. Jalen Mills will drop back there to a safety position along with Rodney McLeod. So the semblance of a good football team, which brings us into what we like to do: gamble on sports and talk about how it goes forward in the future. Now, the public perception of the Philadelphia Eagles draft was not good because obviously the avalanche came in round two when you draft a quarterback when you already have Carson Wentz. What are you doing? You're not helping your team. Oh my God, Dallas got CeeDee Lamb. That all factors into it as well. But when you take a look at before the draft, the Eagles were still hovering around that plus 100 number to win the NFC East. To me, look, I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm also a realist. I made more money last year betting on the Dallas Cowboys than any other team in the National Football League. I still do think overall the Philadelphia Eagles are a better football team than the Dallas Cowboys because Dallas did take some hits on defense. Hey, look, CeeDee Lamb was a great pick, and I thought Dallas had a very good draft, but overall, I'm still looking at the Philadelphia Eagles to be the better team. Obviously, the Giants and the Washington Redskins bring up the rear, but it's a pretty close number between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. When you take a look at to win the NFC, still sitting at 11-1 in that range, that really didn't change all that much after the draft, but the number that did take a hit there was the Eagles now sitting at plus 2,500 to win the NFL championship. Look, it's going to be hard to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They're really good with an electric quarterback. Even when you watched the draft yesterday, you know how had a really good draft? The Baltimore Ravens of the weekend, adding some speed at wide receiver, getting J.K. Dobbins at running back. They fit the exact MO of what they want to do specifically in the AFC. That's a two-man race out there. There's a lot of good football teams in the NFL, but Kansas City and Baltimore seem like they're going to be on a collision course, so winning the Super Bowl obviously is going to be tough for any team, specifically from the NFC. The only good thing is you don't have to go through both Kansas City and Baltimore to win the NFL title. You just have to go through one of those teams. But also looking at the team total of 9.5, minus 120 is a team total for the Eagles. I do think they win the division. I don't think they win the division, again, getting 9 wins. So if I think they're going to win the division, that certainly points to a team total over 10. And I do think they're going to end up getting that. So I do like the fact that the Eagles are at 9.5. I think they are a double-digit win football team. I also like the Eagles to win the NFC East. We'll see if that line changes. It'll be interesting to go back on this video later in the summer to see if the Eagles do hold true at plus 100. All of these lines, by the way, we're taking a look at betonline.ag, so we'll see how they change. And the 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. Not a great start for the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL draft, but a pretty good finish. I still think they're the front runners there in the NFC, and we'll keep it at that. So thanks for tuning into an episode of Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. Hit the subscribe button. We'll pump out content all summer long, getting you ready for the NFL. Thank you for watching Sports Betting with Donnie, presented by RightWager.com. For more information and videos, click on the subscribe button below.